My name is Maggie, and we're doing this testimonial as a way to tell Candace's story of how she came to the church, why she's decided that this is her home, and also we're going to congratulate her on her wedding, which was in December. Congratulations, Candace.
Thank you.
Candace, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So, my name is Candace, and I am 31. I recently moved to Latrobe about 5 years ago. I grew up outside of Ligonier in a small town, and I grew up in a very large family, and we did a lot of family things. And now I am living with my husband, and we live in Latrobe here, like I said. And we're just, enjoying married life. Like, it's just crazy to settle in with all that.
I'm sure in the middle of a pandemic, no less.
Yeah, that was stressful, to say the least.
Good. Well, congratulations on your marriage.
Thank you.
We were talking before this, and you had said that you came into the church, 6-7 years ago now?
No, it'll be 6 years in May.
6 years in May. Wow. How old were you when you decided to?
I think it started at a very young age, actually.
Really?
I went to church with a friend, and her parents are very Catholic and very religious, I guess I should say, not Catholic. And they're very involved within the Catholic Church. And we went to Mass one morning, never been to it, didn't even know what I was stepping into. And they were like, just follow us, it's no big deal, we'll walk you through it. I'm like, okay, I loved going to church as a kid, so I didn't mind it all. And so we walked in, and just the congregation, they were like, oh, you've never been to Mass before? And I was like, no. And they were like, oh, you'll just love it. And okay, I think I was 10 or something. I'm like, okay, I'll whatever. And so we had started singing and everything, and then the homily was just so beautiful, and I can't now remember what it was, but I remember as a kid, I always remembered that homily, and I was just so surprised at how much I was drawn to it. So of course, I was 10, and my family is very Presbyterian. I grew up in a very Presbyterian home, and I went to church camp every summer, so I can't say, oh, I'm just going to join a Catholic church at 10. They were like, okay. So I decided that when I got older, I would look into it and see if it was something I wanted to do. And my best friend happened to be Catholic, and I was going through a really, really hard time in my life, with a recent breakup and a job change and finances and everything. And she's like, let me take you to church. Let me just come and see what it's about here.
So how old were you then?
I was around 21, I think 22, and I was like, okay. And I was like, I'm gonna be moving soon to Latrobe, so maybe once I get settled, it's not something you talk to people about very often, at my age.
Mm-hmm.
It was very hard to be open and talk about that. So and thank goodness for my friend. She was just wonderful, and she's like, just come. So I came a few times, and I met Father Dan at the time, and then I met Deacon Mike, and I had approached them about doing RCIA, and I was like, I really want to try it and see if this is where my home should be, because it just felt like I was missing something, going to church, and I just felt like I always remembered that Mass when I was younger and how much I felt like I was at home there. So I went and did RCIA, and here I am.
So the church experience wasn't foreign to you then? It was something that you were used to, but the Catholic Church seemed different.
Yeah, it seemed very different. It seemed like I got a lot more out of it. I learned a lot more from the homilies, from the readings, and I felt like the Mass was just fulfilling. It wasn't just you go to church and they sing a couple of songs and they say a sermon and then you go back, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have communion, and you got to ask for forgiveness every single Sunday, and to me that was just so fulfilling to me, and I didn't know that I needed that until I went to that, and then I fell in love with it.
That sounds absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it really was. It was Barb and Deacon Mike were just amazing going through the process. At the time, I had a really crazy schedule, and they were like, "Don't worry, we got you. We'll sit down," and they did all that with me, and it was.
So that was more one-on-one than like you sit down for a class and somebody preaches at you.
Yeah, no, it was. We had, I think, 5 people in our class, 5 or 6 people in our class, and it was like all of us. We were like petrified the first night. We're like, "Oh, what are we gonna get into?" And they were like, "We got you guys. Like, just put some trust and faith in us, and we'll guide you along." And they really did, and they listened to us. And if we had questions, like they just stopped and they took the answers and gave them to us, and it was absolutely wonderful.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, you're giving me goosebumps. So, what was that process like with RCIA? I mean, a lot of people I kind of think that it's like sitting for a class, or you check off some boxes, and it's like, okay, now you're good to go. So, what was that process like for you? Did you find that you learned a lot of things that were different? Did you feel different? What was what was that learning
I don't
process?
think it was like sitting in a classroom. We sat in a round table, so it was like open conversation pretty much, and like, what do you know about the Catholic Church kind of thing, and then from there we built from it, and it was, everything like why we did a certain thing and why we did this and why we did that, and like to me it, to have that background and understanding was really rewarding to me, because then I understood everything going to Mass too. So it wasn't like, scary. Like I can go into Mass and I know what's going to happen. I know like I didn't know that, people wrote letters. Like that wasn't a thing. Like when they read a reading in Mass, like I didn't understand it was like a letter to John wrote by somebody. Like didn't understand that. I'm like, okay, like I thought I knew the Bible, but then like learning, and then like we went to RCIA meeting the one night, and I was like, I don't understand this, and like they just took the time and explained like why it is this and why this is what they mean when they're saying this. I'm like, oh, okay, this makes sense now. But like growing up, never would have known that was how it was in the Bible and everything. So that was pretty cool.
What was coming into the church like? I assume that was Easter.
We came in at Pentecost.
Pentecost.
Yeah.
Wow, what was that like?
It was so like magical. I guess that would be the best way. It was so cool. Some of my family and friends came, and Father Dan and Deacon Mike. They had a beautiful homily that day, and it wasn't scary at all. Like it was just like you were coming home. Like I that's the best way I can say it. Like I know I've said it like a couple of times, but like that's
perfect.
the best way I can describe it. Like everything about the process was just welcoming, and you felt loved. You knew you had a community, and I got to go experience Mardi Gras here. And it was wonderful, and Lent, and like it was just a great time to join the church. Honestly, like it was just a perfect time for me.
Do you find that you've maintained a lot of those friendships after RCIA, and you're still involved in the church, or where are you at right now in your faith journey?
So the people with RCIA, I really don't get to see a lot. I think they go to different masses, mass times, and everything. There is a girl, I still talk to her every now and then. I don't think she lives around here though anymore. But obviously at Deacon Mike, Barb, I've seen her a few times. I don't get to see Father Dan, but I think that they're just, all of them together, like they're just to help you build a relationship with, and they always are able to answer any question you have. Like they always are an open book for you to, bounce ideas off of, or, you are confused about something, like they will answer any question. So, and as far as like my friends and like where we stand with it, one of my dearest friends is Catholic, and she raises her children in Catholic church. My husband's family is all Catholic, so it's something nice, to see. My husband has 2 nieces, and obviously I guess they're now mine too. Yeah. But and they go to CDT now, and everything they learn, they come home from CDT and they're like, it's Charlotte, not really Alessandra, but Charlotte will be like, I learned a prayer today, and we'll say prayer before dinner, and it's so sweet to like see that. And then like we have had that conversation, like that's how I want to raise my children. Like I want to raise them in the Catholic Church and have them go to Catholic school and let them see, everything about the Catholic Church, because I think it's just a wonderful experience.
That's so cool. So to backtrack just a little bit here, you came into the church about 6 years ago in May.
Mm-hmm.
What has the rest of that 6 years looked like after you came into the church? Was it okay, I'm here, I'm done, and then that's it? Or how has your spiritual life evolved in the last 6 years?
I think I do the readings on my own. Like you see the bulletin every week. I do those readings, and I read what, is leading forward to Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I can't always make every Sunday because of my work schedule, and that has changed, and I'm very blessed that that's changed, because I do want to be able to connect back into the church. But unfortunately, I do go when I can, but with work and stuff, and that's a horrible excuse, but
Did we mention that Candace is a paramedic yet? I can't remember if we did at the beginning, but Candace is a paramedic. And so when she's not at church, she's out saving lives. So some context for this. Sometimes that's not always conducive to getting to Mass, but that's that's how it is. That's the nature of things.
Yeah. But I do my daily prayers, I always I have my rosary with me every single day at work. So and I will pull it out. It is always on me when I'm at work, and if I'm having a bad day, I sit there and I pray for a little bit. I'll go in the back room and I'll get it out, and I think that I might not always be at church, but I think I always try to have church in my life as much as I can.
It sounds like your faith is very much a part of your life. It's not just something you do on Sunday because you have to.
No, and I think I credit my family for that. My grandparents they go to church every Sunday. We had family dinners, and church was always such a big thing growing up. So I always just kept that, because I felt like that's where I needed to be, and I felt like I always got my answers answered, or my questions answered. And at the end of the week, I would come in and I would just pray about it, and eventually everything was answered. And I'm very blessed about that. I am looking forward to being more involved. I know that at one time I did do the prayer shawls. We used to make them here, and I thought that was the sweetest thing. I just love that. It's probably one of my favorite things here. But
shout out to Prayer Shawl Ministry. If you're listening, Candace is volunteering. No, I'm kidding.
I might have a little bit more time now that I have a different job, so I might be able to get back to knitting here.
That would be wonderful. Remind me, I'll put you down on a list as soon as we walk out of here.
Call me.
You come to church, you get recruited, okay? So that's kind of how this works. No, but in all seriousness, that sounds absolutely wonderful. So, tell me, how can we pray for you as you're continuing on your faith journey?
I think the best prayers are just, praying that I continue to be close to God, and that as my marriage grows, that we keep God in the middle of our marriage, and we move forward with that, and hopefully one day have children. That would be a wonderful blessing. So
absolutely. What is your husband's name?
Richard.
Okay, so make sure that you're praying for Richard and Candace tonight, and that God can bless them in their marriage and as they move forward with everything they do. Candace, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would like to share as far as encouraging somebody else if they're interested in the Catholic faith? What would you tell someone who's interested in the Catholic faith but maybe isn't quite ready to come yet?
I would say if you have God in your life, pray about it. If you believe in God, pray about it. And don't be afraid to ask. That's the best thing I can tell somebody is just ask somebody with the Catholic Church. I mean, God is wonderful, and He does so many blessings to everybody's life. So I think that asking somebody and, seeing if that would be the right thing for them. And I think it would be, honestly.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on, Candace. We very much appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you all for watching. Hopefully, if you see Candace around, say hi, and we will be back with you another day. Bye.